Sephora stores are everywhere you are. So just pop in. When you need a brown lip to match your 90s playlist. A confidence boost before your interview? Or a last-minute gift for mom's birthday. There's always a Sephora near you. Just pop in. Use our store locator to find your local Sephora or Sephora at Kohl's.
Bros and heroes. Gonna tell you about bros and heroes. Gonna tell you about
comic books, costumes,
facts, boots,
and other stuff.
In this week's issue, you Superman, he's our pal Jimmy Olsen.
Welcome into Bros, Foes, and Heroes. I'm Zach, joined as always by the ASMR part of our podcast, Mr. Mike.
I have a fine tea left over from my breakfast this morning.
A fine tea? What makes it
I guess
fine?
it was a brunch.
It would be more of a brunch.
Because I didn't eat till like 11:30.
Yeah, that makes it brunch was. Also, producer Mason. And while I bring up Mason, he and I do another podcast, which you should check out if you're listening to us here.
Well, it's the same one.
It is.
It's in the same feed,
extension.
everything. Yeah.
Exactly. If you're already subscribed to it, then you already get it.
And if you're not,
and this is the first time to
F you, Superman.
Subscribe, and then you will get it. But Mason and I are able to go in and talk about things going on currently in comics.
Yeah.
You know, polls that we have for the week, things to look forward to. Great listen to.
It's really awesome. I love the fact that you guys are doing
We get to dive in and get nerdy together.
Yeah.
Is that safe to say? Okay. I got a nod of approval.
The only thing I'm questioning is I came in late because you guys were already doing this, and I misjudged time this morning. I slept until 9:30 this morning, which means that I'm either dying or that I was super tired. I never do that.
I was up at like 7:20.
Well, I was up at 6:44.
My body will not let me get up any later for some reason.
I was up at 6:44 because I did tap the phone to make sure what time it was. Had to pee, then went back and laid down for a second. I woke up. It was 9:30. So it is. It's a lazy day for me. But the universe got back at me because we're gonna have to keep a baby until 4 a.m. tonight.
Ooh, yeah. No, it got back at you for sure.
I think I bought a child. Just a random child. I think I bought a child a cat boy figure one time.
You just see kids and you're like, say right there, and you just went and found a toy and came back and gave it to him.
By the way, Mason's podcast Bibliophobia. Yeah, great listen. Yeah. Cool stuff.
Maybe we'll be on it one day.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, if I could only read.
I would teach you.
I'd love to have a Bois episode. Thing with me and Zach on a book without pictures.
Yeah, it'd be cool. A book without pictures.
Hold on.
That's the new name of your podcast, A Book Without Pictures.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, for sure.
Hey, I also want to mention one thing real quick, and I promise not to take long. But we went to breakfast or brunch this morning, and as I get up to go pay, my wife says, "Hey, I want to pay for his breakfast." And there's a guy that looks to be homeless because he's got a whole lot of bags and stuff in there, and he's looking over the menu so hard because I think he's looking for like the cheapest way out of there, but he needs something to eat. I have never known a sweeter person in my life than my wife. I would never have thought that. I feel bad for this guy. Let me buy his breakfast. I just wanted to say that it was just beautiful. I loved it. Yeah.
No, that is really nice.
It was cool.
Then.
Yeah, very cool.
Sounds awesome.
Suzanne, you'll never hear this, but I love you.
Kudos, yeah.
And you really don't deserve Miss Suzanne.
No, I get it. Yeah, I thanks for pointing that out. But yeah, I do. I understand that quite a bit.
Kudos to her.
Yeah,
that
was super
Mike's
cool.
Obvious better half.
Yes, very much so.
So we talked about him a little bit, and that is Mr. Jimmy Olsen, Cub reporter for the Daily Planet. And all of the shenanigans he got into in the Silver Age. We're sticking in the Silver Age. We talked about some crazy Silver Age shenanigans. Mike really loved Bat Baby from last week.
I love that Bat Baby.
So I thought we'd stay here and have some more shenanigans. This time all centrally located around one Jimmy Olsen.
Okay. That red-headed little creep.
I do have the covers of all of the issues they appeared in, but not necessarily as the story that we're going to talk about from the cover. because these books a lot of times had multiple stories in them, 2 or 3 different stories per comic. They were kind of a anthology every issue.
Do you think this is a thing that really happened? Like they had to peel potatoes a lot in the Army?
I don't know. I wasn't around then.
But I mean,
it's referenced a lot.
It's referenced a lot, right? It must have been a real
Sometimes
thing.
it feels though like some things are just mentioned a lot in media, and it's just assumed like it wasn't. Oh, maybe it wasn't. I don't know if the potato thing is a part of it.
Yeah.
But
like,
our cover,
I keep hearing something about Trump being president. That's crazy talk. That couldn't have happened.
So our first issue is issue number 23 that we're going to look for, and the cover is Superman peeling potatoes for Jimmy Olsen. It's the adventure of Private Olsen, but we're not talking about Private Olsen. We're going to talk about...
Oh, no, that wasn't that. It was Olsen's Privates is the one that I watched. I'm sorry.
Oh. Yeah, different cast. I don't think Superman was in it.
Sure.
Well,
one guy.
But we see
it was green and glowing.
Our story we're going to talk about is called Jimmy Olsen, the Bearded Boy.
Wow! Look at Superman leading Jimmy Olsen around by his big red beard.
Jimmy's belt has accidentally got caught, or Jimmy's beard has accidentally got caught in Superman's belt.
How does that happen? By the way,
this is going to happen a lot. So Jimmy. If you didn't know, master of disguise. It's gonna come,
is he?
It's gonna come up next, or the next story too.
A master of disguise does not wear a beard that long.
Well, because it's a real one there.
So
as a disguise, he's trying to infiltrate the Beard Band, which is like this group of men who meet, and they always meet in secret, but you have to have a beard to get in.
Yeah.
Well, they check everybody who comes in. They pull on their beard to check if it's real, and they notice that his was fake.
Jump in Jehoshaphat. They make him drink beard juice.
So he's trying to figure out how to get in, and this guy comes up and he's like, "Hey, why don't you drink my beard tonic here? It'll work."
I was not far off. I just said beard juice.
And he drinks the beard tonic, and sure enough, he starts to grow whiskers a lot, and he shows back up
super quick
to knock back in, and this time they pull on his whiskers, and it sure enough works.
Wow.
And they walk in and they have a hall of famous beards, and it's like pictures of like Abraham Lincoln and other presidents on the wall of guys.
I wish
with
I could do that. Like I have a beard.
Yeah, but it's
not, like I can't let it grow too big because it starts getting all bushy and weird looking. I would love to try a real long one like that just for a couple of days just to see how life was as a long bearded man.
It'd be interesting. Jimmy's trying to like blend in. As a long bearded man. I don't know what you want me to say.
I don't know. You're good. Yeah.
Jimmy's trying to blend in. He's like, nobody will know who I am here, just to get a story for the Daily Planet about the Beard Band.
Yeah.
And they point him out and they look, hey, even Jimmy Olsen, Superman's pal's here. He's going to help us spread the news about how cool beards are. Right? And they're like, no, I can't do that. And they're like, well, you're going to help us because your beard growth is permanent until you get the antidote.
I get a little creeped out by these guys that grow the long beards and style them and stuff and get into the competitions and things. I don't know. That creeps me out a little bit.
Well, it is.
The handlebar, mustaches, all that stuff that goes along with it. Some is a little cool.
It makes me think old baseball, but.
Yeah. Well, we're not playing old baseball, though. That's the thing.
So, that's true. So they tell him, hey, we'll give you the antidote if you make these public appearances with your beard to show people beards are cool. Because we're trying to bring back the beard. That's honest. They have a slogan that says, bring back the beard.
What?
So, they give him a list. And
Don't tell me drugs weren't big
It's
now.
Gonna get,
I mean, come on.
Hold on. Just wait. So he goes back to the office and he tells them, like, yeah, I got to make these appearances for them to give me the antidote. And Perry's like, this stuff's not going to work. And Perry drinks it and they make Clark drink it too. Clark Kent.
Watch out.
Well, so here's the thing is like at the time, like Superman doesn't grow hair on his face or something at this time. Like,
was that a thing?
There's a thing. Yeah. There's like John Byrne, at least, I think explained away that he has like a piece of, I don't know if it was like a piece of the rocket ship that he landed in, but he like uses his heat vision and goes off of it and uses it to kind of just like shave away his own face. Cause they talk about how impenetrable like Superman's skin is. So like, a razor wouldn't be able to cut his hair. But you would think his
own hair would grow through it, you know?
Yeah.
But okay.
But then a razor couldn't cut it.
I get it. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But John Byrne at least explained how he would shave there.
Superman with stubble or a beard is weird anyway.
But to blend in, because it works, and Perry grows a beard, so Superman has to take his jacket off, use his super speed to rip it down to silk, and sew a fake beard out of it to put on to pretend that the beard tonic worked on him too.
That's such a great plan.
So Jimmy goes and gets to make his first public appearance to show people that beards are cool, and it's at
and by now Jimmy has a long ass beard.
Yeah,
like it goes down to his mid thighs.
It does. And he shows he's leaning out from his booth to show people, oh, look, there's Jimmy Olsen with his beard so they can get a view.
His beard booth.
And in the play, somebody swings the scythe and it chops off his beard.
Uh-oh.
So the beard band catches him outside because they've sent a photographer around to catch him, to get good pics.
Outside.
And he's like, oh, you're making a fool of us, looking like that. And he's like, that's okay. I'll just go home and, you know what? I'll make myself something before the next event, kind of calm myself down. Well, he catches it on fire while he's trying to cook something.
Sure.
And he goes to put it out, and it's short again. So he shows up for the Rip Van Winkle statue commemorative thing appearance that they're at.
Okay, say all that one more time.
Hold on.
He shows up for the...
soon at the dedication of a park statue. Sorry, I was wrong. It's not Rip Van Winkle. I'm pretty sure Rip Van Winkle does come in, though. This one's of the statue of Robinson Crusoe.
Robinson Crusoe is a very bearded individual, I guess.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, your beard's too short. You're making beards funny, not dignified. Like you're ruining beards, you idiot.
God, Jimmy Olsen, you screw up
later,
everything.
He regrows the beard and he's dressed for his new part. He's to show up at the Seven Dwarfs exhibit.
Oh, come on.
And what happens is...
This is 2 weeks in a row we've had the tiny people.
And what happens is, the 60s, man.
That's true.
There is a group of robbers that's trying to get away from Superman. And
is this Jimmy Olsen that's dressed like Robin Hood, though?
Yeah, because he's going to the Dwarves exhibit.
Oh. Sure. I always dress like whatever exhibit I'm going to.
The bank robbers shoot towards Superman, and the bullet grazes and cuts off Jimmy's beard. Jimmy grabs what's left of his beard, wraps it around their ankle, and catches them for...
come on.
Superman. Superman forgets he has the fake beard on, rips the fake beard off to go be Superman. Because if Jimmy sees me with this fake beard, he'll know I'm Clark Kent.
Oh, you can't even let your guard down for a minute, Superman.
Then next thing, Jimmy, that's where it is.
I love the argument by the bearded individuals in this organization that only long beards make them look dignified and cool.
So then here it is. Meanwhile, so Jimmy's like, I got to regrow my beard before the next PR thing.
That's me trying to grow a beard.
And it says, meanwhile, his beard regrown. Jimmy is ready for another publicity stunt when I let it grow real long for the opening of a Rip Van Winkle movie.
There it is.
Oops, I'm tripping. And he falls into a sand pit.
Does he say, oops, I'm tripping?
No, yeah, he did. He has to cut off his beard and use it as a rope to crawl out of the sand pit.
This is funny and we're having a great time here, but honestly, the beard has come in very handy.
It has.
But the cutoff version.
Yes. So he shows up to the event with his beard, cut off beard in hand.
Like a dead baby.
And they're like, you failed. And they take the antidote in front of him and they just smash it in front of him.
Oh my God.
They're like, you're not getting the antidote.
He'll never be hairless again.
He's like, now we're just going to make extra strength brew tonic and we're going to make everybody drink it. And so while they're drinking the tonic, Jimmy takes his old beard hair and he throws it into the tonic, right?
Yeah. Can I ask you a quick question about this? Mm-hmm. About the logic of this?
Mm-hmm.
Why is the rest of his hair not growing?
I don't know.
Okay.
So everybody takes a drink of the new tonic.
It's got some long
because they're like, oh, it's going to make our beards even fuller and better. And it makes their beards disappear. Apparently, Jimmy throwing his beard hair in the concoction made it a hair removal.
Oh, yeah.
So Jimmy's able to drink it real quick.
That'll do it.
And bottle it for everybody else.
Here, guys, let me just drink some of my hair real quick.
Yep. And then they get rid of all the beard tonic.
Beards.
And that is how Jimmy Olsen saved the beard people.
That's it?
Yeah, that's the end of the comic. Superman shows up. He empties it all out, ties it up.
Jesus.
And then he brings tonic to finally save Perry, whose beard has tied him up in his chair.
Sure.
Our next Jimmy Olsen story.
Are there 4 stories in
There's
this?
4 stories here.
All right, okay.
I've collected them from different Jimmy Olsen comics.
Look at this guy. He's dressed up like the devils.
Again, not from this. Sorry, ours not from this yet. Ours is more exciting, I will say.
This guy's dressed like the devil, and this guy's like a shirtless pirate.
It's all Jimmy Olsen.
Oh, look at the Jimmy Olsen version of Superman.
There's a lot of those too.
Wow. Okay. All right.
This is from Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen, number 61. And this story is called Olsen the Roughneck. I don't want you to see the picture here because I don't want to give... Huh?
Oil
no.
field?
I don't want to spoil what happens in this story.
Isn't that what a roughneck is?
I think so.
Okay.
So Jimmy and his kind of girlfriend, kind of not, Lucy
Street.
Lang, Lucy, I don't.
There's Lois
it's
Lane.
Lucy.
Then there's Lucy
it's an
Street.
L. No, it's not Lucy Street.
And then
But I can't remember. It's an L name. I don't remember what Lucy's
Barb
last name
Cul-de-sac.
is. But Jimmy is always infatuated with Lucy. Yeah. And that is very important for one of our stories coming up after this, too. So he and Lucy are out on a date.
Around Rebecca Roundabout, though.
No.
Ooh,
no, you got to watch out. She in circles if you're not careful. So Jimmy and Lucy are at this show at the Metropolis nightclub as Jimmy and Lucy watch
the Metropolis nightclub.
Watch a floor show.
Name.
And I'm just reading these verbatim.
Okay, please do. I always love that when you prep it because it's got to be something inappropriate. Well, I'm just saying,
Jimmy says, wow, this Apache dance is some number.
Perfect.
The man is pulling his partner along the floor by her hair.
Yes, wonderful. That's great.
Lucy 60s. Says, it's all part of the act, Jimmy. Isn't he a magnificent brute?
Oh,
Lucy's kind of turned on by it.
Sure, she loves it. Yeah, she wants her hair pulled.
Then we see, as in the floor show, he smacks the woman in the face.
Yeah.
Right? And
the Apache does?
Yeah,
or he does?
The dance, the floor show they're watching. Yeah. And Jimmy's kind of taken aback by it. He's like, he's slapping her in the face. God. And Lucy goes, well, I suppose if a girl is attracted to a real He-Man, she doesn't mind his rough treatment. Like, I don't know if Lucy's trying to be like...
If you got a big thingamajig, then you can smack your lady around. Is that what she's saying?
I think that's what Lucy's saying.
Okay. All right.
It was the 60s.
Sure.
Well, people in the 60s were smart, man. They already knew about big dick energy.
Fair enough. And Lucy was all about it. She's like, there's just something about him. Like, yeah,
he like him.
But, and
Look
then
how short his pants are.
I guess as it proceeds, they end with kissing.
Yeah.
And she's like, man, that was something. You know, by the way, Jimmy.
Just slid right off her chair.
Yeah. She's like, man, that was great. And she's like, hey, I'm sorry to tell you, though, but like that date we had tomorrow night, I got to break it. Instead.
I'm going out with Slappy McSlapperson over there.
Instead, she goes, I'm going to, for Lois Lane's party, I'm going to take this. Where's that? Oh, for business reasons, I have to take the vice president of my airline. Lucy's a flight attendant.
Okay.
Hold on. And
hey, Mason. I don't think he's in there.
He's right there.
Oh. He's quick. All right. You're good. You're good. I was just going to tell him to double check that camera angle.
Okay.
Take this out.
So she's like, I must invite the vice president of my airline, so you have to go alone. And Jimmy's like, why are you standing me up?
Yeah.
Fine. So then they're sitting there at the table. All of a sudden, he notices a spider has kind of fallen down from the table.
Okay.
He's like, I'll go brush that out of her face. And he stands up and goes to swipe it away. And as he does, the table slips.
He slaps her.
And he slaps her in the face.
Wonderful. Not going to date me, huh?
And she
Slappity
goes,
slap.
Jimmy Olsen, you struck me. You're pulling that Apache stuff on me. You worm? What makes you think,
worm?
What makes you think you're that kind of He-Man who can push a girl around and get away with it?
Yeah, like, Jimmy Olsen, you don't even have a beard.
And he's like, no, you don't understand. Like, it was an accident. She's like, yeah, whatever. Since you've never behaved like this before, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But, you know, since you've never struck me, but if you did, we would be through.
Right.
He's like, yeah, okay.
Sure.
Next day, Jimmy's got to go cover a story at Goofy's Ark, is what this place is called.
What the fuck is that?
It's just like an animal farm.
Okay.
Say animal farm. It's like an animal exhibit.
Animal
there's
farm.
an ostrich called Shy Sheila who hasn't taken her head out of the sand over 48 hours.
Yeah.
There's
she's dead.
There's a boxing kangaroo that's boxing a clown.
Oh, that's cool.
There's an aardvark or an anteater, or they're the same. They're not.
Man,
the
if
same
I could ever go see a kangaroo boxing a clown,
I'm not going to say.
I'm in for that.
I'm not going to say the anteater's name.
Sally Sucks a Lot.
No, Ark. Hold on, but here's a genuine oddity, Olsen. Yeah, anteater. Because it's racist. I feel like it is.
For an anteater? Is it like a...
How would you say M-A-M-E?
Oh, I would say maim. I understand what you're thinking, but I would say maim.
Okay.
But I know where you're going, but I would say
the
maim.
first is auntie.
Well, Auntie Mame. So wasn't that an actual thing?
Was it?
I think that's an actual show or a movie or something.
Okay. I'm making sure. I'm just trying to
Yeah. No, I get where you're going
careful
with that. Yeah, I know how racist you are, so
Whoa.
Let's see. Yeah, Auntie Mame was a 1958 comedy romance.
Okay. Then
yeah, so that's what it is. Yeah.
Fair enough then. Yeah. Just being safe.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
That is the name of the anteater, but
starring Rosalind Russell.
The head of Goofy Ark says that this anteater has the longest tongue ever, and so they lay popcorn out to get it to stretch out, and it measures over 5 feet. This anteater's got a long tongue.
Sure.
Well, Jimmy goes to leave and throws his popcorn box in the back.
Between that Apache and that anteater.
Yeah, and
that's a busy night.
He doesn't realize he left a trail of popcorn, and the boxing kangaroo hops in the back of the car with him.
Why the boxing kangaroo? Why not the anteater?
I don't know. It followed the popcorn. I don't know.
Okay. Kangaroos love popcorn.
All the way up to Lois Lane's party, because Jimmy's still going to the party. He's just not going with Lucy.
Sure.
Well, the kangaroo follows him up to the party, and there they're playing Pin the Tail on Crypto the Super Dog. And they spin.
You say that with such a straight face.
They are. Pin the Tail on Crypto. So Lucy has her turn, and they spin Lucy around, and she walks into Lois's bedroom. And what happens is she goes to she sticks the kangaroo with the tail. So the kangaroo punches her in the face.
Sure. She goes, "Oh, you Apache."
And somehow as she falls, she goes from poking the kangaroo. As she falls, this picture that's behind her is now in her hand being stuck with the nail.
Oh, she got it in her
tack.
Oh, yeah. Huh. Maybe she was trying to brace herself, and all she grabbed was
there's an open window. The kangaroo hops out of the window, and Jimmy runs in to check on her, and they're like, "What happened?" And Lucy's like, "Jimmy did it." And Jimmy's like, "I wasn't even in here. I was making a sandwich in the other room." And Lucy's like, "No, it's because I pinned the tail on your picture, and you got super jealous and upset about it." And
I don't even have a mucus-filled pocket on the front of my body.
And he's like, "Whatever." So then we see... another thing that's going to come up, Jimmy is gone to visit his Jimmy Olsen fan club in a city near Metropolis. There is a Jimmy Olsen fan club, and it is a massive fan club that loves Jimmy Olsen. So he's telling them about how he's a master of disguise, and he's like putting on masks like, "Hey, here's a mask of this person." And they all look really lifelike. The thing that's weird to me, though, is he puts on a mask and he goes, "This is a mask of my friend, reporter Clark Kent." These people don't know who Clark Kent is. So it's like if you went to a show and a guy's like, "Hey, here's
my friend Jeff.
Yeah, here's a mask of my second cousin Daryl. Doesn't it look like Daryl?" And everybody be like, "I guess."
Sure, I guess.
I've never seen Daryl, but sure. Anyway.
That Daryl.
On the plane, he also
I've never seen Daryl.
He also shows them that on a recent case that he reported on about a toy maker, that for doing such a good job, he made a Jimmy in the box, essentially, instead of a Jack in the box.
Sure.
So when you hit the secret button, a thing that looks like Jimmy Olsen pops out of the box.
A thing that looks like Jimmy Olsen.
It kind of looks like a puppet.
Sure.
Well, on his flight home, he realizes that, Lucy's working on this flight as the flight attendant. And she's upset by him still because she has a black eye from where the kangaroo punched her. Obviously so. Like, he has a quote in there. It's like, every time she'll look in the mirror and see that black eye, she'll get mad at me. Well, yeah, I bet she has a black eye.
Well, yeah, if you punched her, she would.
Exactly. Well, so we find out Jimmy's sitting there watching and decides, you know what, since he's here, I'm going to take the handcuffs out of my disguise box here. I'm going to handcuff my hands together so I can't hit her. He's taking it out of the equation.
Logic is just not a thing.
No, not in these comics. Then we see another passenger on this plane is a guy who is apparently some kind of like snake salesman.
Snake salesman.
He's a snake hunter. And he tells her, like, one of my snakes, like when I was getting them kind of put up here, its fang grazed me and I'm feeling kind of woozy. Like, it's not poisonous, but I think I'm not feeling well. And so she feels like on his arm to take a pulse. and Jimmy mistakes it for her trying to make a move. And he stands up and he's like, how dare you holding hands with this perfect stranger? This is the guy you just met and you're trying to hold his hand. Like just getting all in her business.
Yeah.
And she's like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Why are you always hanging around all these kangaroos?
And she walks into like to make a case to him, and he accidentally hits the button of his Jimmy in the box, and it pops up and it punches her in the face and knocks her down. And so then, oh, just wait, Mike. There's the thing about all these. They were just great. So then he's like, I didn't do this. I was handcuffed. And she's like, liar. This isn't the first time. He's hit me multiple times. Like, you know, it's just terrible. And he's trying to apologize, and she's not having any of it. When they start unloading the cargo from the plane, and some of the snakes get loose from the snake wrangler here. And the guy says, help, it's an Amazon viper, one of the world's deadliest snakes. It'll strike in the direction of any high-pitched sound. So obviously Lucy, according to any 60 comic book, is going to shriek really high.
Eek!
Yeah. And what is Jimmy going to do? He's like, I got to stop Lucy from becoming hysterical.
We got to punch her.
He slaps her in the face.
You got to punch her.
Multiple times on both sides. He just does like a Three Stooges, like side to side, to get her to calm down.
Sure.
And Superman shows up, and everybody's just like, hey, we're kind of glad that Jimmy slapped her around a bit to keep her from getting hysterical.
How else do you control your hysterical woman? I mean, it's the 60s.
It is.
That's what you got to do.
Exactly.
Slappity slap slap.
And everybody's just like, man, Jimmy did so well. And Lucy's just like, I'm glad he did what he had to do. You know what? I really like Jimmy.
But I wish he had a beard.
No, we're done with that. But apparently he's fine to just smack me around now.
Yeah, that's cool.
Ah,
wow.
Yeah. Jimmy
so
Olsen,
it ends with him just slapping her and everything's good.
Yeah, so.
Good. Okay.
Well, yeah. So then
violence is great, kids.
Well, no, the snake starts coming towards Jimmy.
Oh, I forgot about the snake.
Jimmy hits his, remember that wrist watch that he had that paged Superman?
Yeah.
He pages that. Superman shows up.
I'm not your dad. Shut up.
I love that one. Superman takes the snake and goes away. And Lucy's like, well, it seems to me, Jimmy Olsen, that you smacked me around long enough. It's about time that I smacked you.
Oh.
And he's like, okay, Lucy, if you have to, if it'll make any better, smack away. And then she starts giving him kisses. Yeah. Lovely. And Superman says, haha, Jimmy's grinning like a fool in paradise. I guess I can take this snake to a zoo for safekeeping. And that's how it ends.
Is that something that Superman does a lot? You think he just picks up snakes and drops them off at the zoo? Because there's just snakes in the world, Superman.
That is true. Maybe. I don't know. This is a perfect place for us to go ahead and take a quick break, though. And we'll come back and we'll get into our last two adventures of Jimmy Olsen.
Check out Stam's Snake Factory.
And we're back, and hopefully you checked out, was it Sam's?
Sam's Snake Factory.
Sam's
yeah, he makes snakes factory. From nothing.
Yeah, he's just like,
he's a snake. Oh, I didn't like that was.
How come you can?
That seems like a hot snake coming out. I mean, it's just. Okay. See what I'm saying?
Oh,
yeah. It's like he's crapping out a snake.
No, maybe we should cut that.
No, that doesn't get cut.
Fine.
Snake shitting stays in.
Let's go ahead and get back into our final two Jimmy Olsen stories here.
Hey, by the way, on the back of this one is a model for a 1967 Ford Mustang. I had one of those. Not the model. I had an actual 67 Mustang. Yeah. 67 Mustang. It was that color on the bottom, the yellow.
I'm going to skip ahead a bit because
my cousin, he blew up the engine. Oh. Yeah, he's a dick.
That doesn't sound nice.
He's better now.
I like saving the funnier of the two for the latter.
Sure. I can see why.
This is still a great story. This is the one we're going to do right now.
Okay.
And it's this one's from Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, number 98. And it's Jimmy Olsen, the Bride of Jungle Jimmy. Essentially,
they're just right on the edge of racism and terrible stuff all the time.
All the time. So Clark Kent and Jimmy Olsen are out essentially covering the making of this movie out in the jungle. The jungle
the jungles of Metropolis
that they have here. No, they're off in some. I don't think they say where, but they're in another continent.
Jungleopolis.
The tribes people have a sacred gorilla that they worship.
Sure.
And the gorilla comes and watches movies every night. Like, because they're like, oh, how do you get the tribes people's protection and stuff? And they're like, well, we give them all these jewels.
We show a monkey some movies.
Because our money's worthless to them. They like these trinkets and stuff instead. And we play them a jungle-themed movie every night. Because that's what
How many jungle-themed movies are there?
Apparently enough for one to show every night.
To a gorilla.
Well, no, to the tribes people. And the gorilla comes and watches too.
Right.
So
my argument would be that it's the gorilla who they're really playing it for.
While they're there, they're like, hey, Jimmy's making fun of the gorilla. And the tribes people are like, don't make fun of our sacred gorilla. Like, bad luck happens when things like that. So Jimmy...
what? Don't make fun of our sacred gorilla.
Jimmy shows up and he's like, hey, guys, I was thinking maybe I could be in this movie too. And the tribes people...
Because that's how that works.
Yeah, and the tribes people, the film people are like, yeah, no, sure you can. And as soon as he walks away, they're like, oh, he's going to make this terrible. He's bad. Like, why are we going to do?
Didn't even have a beard.
Jimmy gets upset by this, so he decides to go all out. He builds like his own tree house, and he's practicing on like swinging from vines. Like, he's going to show him that he can do all this.
How long did this take?
I don't know. It's told in just a couple panels. But he snaps through a branch and he falls in, and the bucket falls, or he pulls the bucket on his head to keep oxygen there as long as he can. Just trap whatever oxygen he can in the bucket.
What the hell are you talking about? He puts a bucket on his head to keep oxygen near his head?
Will Jimmy get in a jam? You know it later as he fetches water for his treehouse.
Come on.
Yippee! The branch gave way. I'm falling. Oh, the pool covers a patch of quicksand. I'm really sunk unless I act fast. I pulled the bucket over my head. The trapped air will keep me alive while I signal for Superman.
It's not trapped, Jimmy. It's a bucket.
So
trapped air.
He feels somebody pull him to safety, and no.
What a dumbass.
It's the gorilla.
Oh.
But the gorilla's in love with Jimmy because when they watch King Kong, Jimmy likes to say Fay Ray a lot. But they watch King Kong, and they thought about how he always tries to save the girl, and he's in love with the girl. So this gorilla's in love with Jimmy. So
what? Your explanation did not make any sense just now.
What do you mean?
He tries to save the girl. The girl's Fay Ray. He says it a lot, and so now he's in love with Jimmy. Wait, that's a big leap. I don't understand how we get from the Fay Ray to loving Jimmy.
So, as Jimmy clears the surface, the quicksand must have clogged my signal watch. It was the sacred gorilla that saved me, not Superman.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bruna. Bruna is the name of the gorilla.
Bruna the gorilla.
And he always says, Bruna, baby. I hate that they talk like that.
Bruna, baby.
You can put me down now, but Jimmy's appearance arouses Bruna's sentimental memories of the King Kong movie. And Jimmy says, Bruno, why are you looking at me like that? Let's not lose our heads. And the tribes people realize, oh, our sacred gorilla found a lover, found a mate.
And then he puts a bucket over his head.
And she carries him up to her house.
Oh, this is a girl gorilla.
Yeah. And Jimmy says it's that King Kong routine she saw on the screen. She's imitating Kong when he fell in love with Fay Ray.
Do you think the gorilla gets like really sad at the end when they shoot him?
Probably. So he escapes. She hunts him back down, though.
Yeah. Like,
she stops traffic because she can't have him.
Sure.
So they have to give him back to her eventually because she's causing so many problems without Jimmy, without her loved one.
Wait, I need you to go down to the bottom of that page by your thumb there, where Superman is shooting some sort of laser out of his eyes, and it says boogity boom.
Oh, well, it says drum talk say sacred gorilla make big trouble at crossroads.
But the sounds are actually what?
Boom, boom, boomity boom.
Boom, boom, boomity boom. Okay. All right.
He's right. My telescopic vision shows Bruna has gone berserk.
Boom, boom, boomity boom.
Anyway, so they realize Superman marries Jimmy and the gorilla together to appease the tribe people.
Of course,
they film it for the movie too.
Of course, Superman is in his suit.
He's dressed up like a witch doctor
with a headdress on and a stick and the whole witch doctor shtick.
Yep. So that night, Jimmy tells Superman, hey, I found a plan to get out of it. Just swing by later this night.
We got to get you a gorilla divorce.
And as he does, he notices that the gorilla has thrown Jimmy from the cave. And Jimmy tells him, I realized that they were essentially, she was just replicating the film. So when we went and watched a movie, I knew there was a scene from this jungle movie where the gorilla threw the person, so she would just try to replicate it.
Yeah, sure.
So now just take me away and let's get out of here. And that's essentially what happens.
So if that is to be believed, he's still married to that gorilla to the day.
I will tell you this, and we didn't talk about this, but Mason in Superman 1 does it not reference that Jimmy, the Superman 1 that came out last month, does it not reference when he talks about his girlfriend? Does it talk about the gorilla? Or they mention a gorilla, and then have you married this one or asked to marry this one? Yeah.
Wow.
It was referenced even now. Yeah.
That's a nice job of continuity.
Yeah.
Stupid continuity, but still. Yeah.
It's fun little because it's not meant as like a serious. Like
No,
they use it as like
Yeah.
a joking term towards them, but they use things that actually kind of happen.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Huh.
You gotta be grateful for any continuity in DC. After 5 crises,
Sure.
Yeah.
you gotta be grateful for what you can get.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because we just reset it every so often.
That's really cool. Loved it.
Our last Jimmy Olsen story, we go back to number 69.
This time he marries, the sexiest of all
And this
episodes.
is Jimmy Olsen's Viking Sweetheart,
What is going on here?
is what we're closing with.
Why is Jimmy always marrying something or slapping a lady around or marrying a Viking?
Happens a lot. There's a lot of Jimmy Olsen stories we can get into. I can tell you this will not be the first time we talk about Jimmy Olsen because there's a lot of crazy things like this. But as he's out...
He's just comic relief, right?
Yeah, essentially, in a way. I just think they found it a way to get Superman in another book in a way.
Sure.
It's like, hey, buy this. Superman's in this sometimes too.
Superman is in this rarely.
He kind of has appearances in each story, but Jimmy's obviously the
Until
main.
Jimmy really F's up, and then Superman shows up, saves the day, and he's done.
Yeah. So they're on the ski trip with the Jimmy Olsen fan club, but the fan club realizes that Jimmy just came because Lucy's there.
The weirdest one I've ever seen is where Superman comes in with a condom at the last and then just leaves.
What issue was
that's
that?
how he saved Jimmy Olsen that time.
I don't remember that one.
I think he was with Roundabout Ruth or whatever.
Roundabout
I don't know,
Ruth?
man. I was trying real hard. I don't know.
You're fine.
I lost it about halfway
You're
through.
fine. I like Roundabout Ruth. But the fan club
Everybody
realizes that Jimmy's just there to like try to flirt with Lucy, but Lucy's there with another dude.
Lucy
So
who?
I don't remember her last name.
Okay.
I'm not gonna try to. Does it say? I think the kids say it.
No, man, that's her name. Lucy who?
See, it just says it figured Jimmy brought us up here because he knew Lucy was weekending at this resort.
All right.
Lucy Lane. It is Lucy Lane.
There we go.
It
Lucy
is.
Lane.
So
I used to live on Lucy Lane.
they hear about the ski
did not
competition,
enjoy it.
and Jimmy realizes, hey, if I can win the ski competition, it'll impress her, and then she'll like me more than this other dude she's with.
Yeah, that's absolute logical thinking.
Well, Jimmy can't make that work, and as he crashes from trying to make the jump, he realizes there's something else buried under the snow. It's a woman.
Oh.
But she's dressed in weird, like, Vikings clothes. And she's like, Eric?
He thawed out a Viking bride?
Yeah. And he's like, no, my name's Jimmy. And she's like, oh, well, I was walking with you look just like my husband, Eric the Red. And I was walking with him, and we were looking for a place to go, and I fell in the snow.
I'm sorry, my eyeballs are still a little frozen.
I was asleep until I just woke up now, and here you are. Why are you dressed so strange? So Jimmy has discovered this Viking princess who was frozen in the snow, right? Not so fast. Turns out it's the fan club, and it's a robot that the fan club has.
Holy shite.
So the fan club has decided they're just going to give him a love interest, and that way he doesn't have to worry about Lucy.
Right. Because once they give him a robot Viking bride.
Like then, hey, we'll hang out with him. He'll do stuff with us. He won't constantly be trying to chase Lucy.
Yeah.
So, and they all think that he deserves to have a girlfriend. Like Lucy doesn't know what she's missing out by constantly scorning, Jimmy too.
Okay.
So they lead this. I'm not going to go into like all the detail, obviously, but they focus this and kind of, they control this robot for Jimmy. And it looks like that multiple times they call it a living doll. So it apparently looks really lifelike. And she gives him like this amulet that used to be her husband. She's like, it's a token of our love, like, all this stuff. She ends up winning the ski competition.
Well, she's
a robot.
Yeah, she's a Viking robot.
And so, like, I'm trying to remember what the prize that she got.
There's one thing I know
winning.
about Viking robots is they're good skiers.
Oh, she was named Queen of the Snow Festival.
Mm-hmm.
She's given a complete wardrobe. She lets Jimmy be her king.
Mm-hmm.
Lucy's starting to get super jealous about stuff.
Yeah.
Soon, Holga, that's the name of the robot. Holga becomes a national celebrity.
Yeah.
And receives an invitation to the White House.
Mm-hmm.
She gets a Viking ship, like a small wooden Viking ship carving from Jackie O.
Wow, for real. Huh. I think that's something.
Right?
Okay.
Thanks, Miss Kennedy.
Thanks, Miss Kennedy. Love that tiny Viking ship.
Well, on their way back, she realized Lucy
robots can't have been that great at that time.
They were. This one was. On their way flying back to Metropolis, Lucy has to work the same flight there because she's a flight attendant.
Yeah. So he punches her in the face.
Yeah, and comes
Grows
up with sandwiches for the two lovebirds. And Robot Holga, tells Lucy, "Stewardess, more coffee and sandwiches for my handsome one. And please make those sandwiches thicker." And Lucy's like, "Yes, ma'am." What irony. I have to look on while she's romancing my boyfriend. Like, Lucy's starting to get jealous then.
Lucy's kind of
yeah, it's like, oh, now that somebody else is paying attention.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Well, they realize after unboarding that
These
she
are very
forgot,
like sexist tropes.
Yeah,
they
are.
Yeah,
very much so. That they left that Viking ship behind on the plane, so she was going to take it back to them. Jimmy had told her when he bumped into her, like, "Hey, good seeing you. Holga and I are going back to see the fan club, and then we're going out to do this other stuff, but it was good to see you."
Yeah.
So she's like, "Oh, I'll just swing by the fan club and drop this off for them then, since they forgot the ship."
She's going to do a little move she calls a Viking funeral, where she sets my privates on fire and then pushes me in the water.
That's nice. The door's locked, but she's like, "Yeah, Jimmy gave me a key a long time ago for this. I'll just let myself in and put it."
Sure.
Well, when she opens up, she sees the control panel now.
Olga tightening her bolts.
And it's Holga meeting there with Jimmy at the park, and they're talking. And she realizes this is a robot. And she sees the control panel, and Jimmy goes, "Holga, now that we're alone, I have something that I really need to tell you." And he's like, "This isn't a real person. This is a robot that I've been getting upset by."
Sure.
And she pushes a button on the panel that says, "Treat Jimmy coldly."
Mm-hmm.
And
30
Jimmy
weight just starts squirting out of her.
And Jimmy gives her a box, and she goes, "Our future high, like you're pathetic. I'm sure this is probably like a gift of betrothal, whatever. We're done."
She pushes a button that says, "Treat Jimmy coldly." Okay.
And she takes the box. The Holga takes the box,
specific button,
and is like, "F your ring or whatever's in here. We're done."
And if this was made by the fan club, why is that button in existence?
I don't know.
Treat Jimmy coldly.
Just to keep Jimmy in check.
Little colder.
And he's like, "Holga, no, not like this." And she walks away, and Lucy is happy. She's like, "I can't wait to show up and tell him that he's been jilted by a robot."
Nah.
What a loser.
Got him.
Well, she goes up and sees that Jimmy's very like bummed out, just sitting there by himself on the bench. And she sees in the box was that pennant that Holga had given him.
Right.
And the note. And the note said, "Dear Holga, I must return your amulet." Sorry, not pennant, amulet.
"Dearest Holga.
Though you are beautiful, it is Lucy Lane that I love. No matter how much Lucy scorns me, my heart will always belong to her, Jimmy." And she's like, "Oh, she feels like a dick then." And she can't tell him that it was a robot.
Yeah.
And instead she's like, "I'll never let him know that he was jilted by a robot. I couldn't hurt his pride that way." And she just makes out with him instead. And it shows the guys back at the fan club with the robot, and they're locking it up, and they're like, "Thank goodness we don't have to use this anymore." And that's how it ends.
Yeah, that robot got used again.
Oh, for sure.
I'm just saying that.
Hundo P. Honest.
Hundo P. Honest. Wonderful.
You like that, right?
I like that a lot, yeah.
So there you go. Some more Silver Age shenanigans this time,
Jimmy Olsen is a doofus.
Yeah, but it's a funny doofus.
No, it's great. It just that is very Silver Age stuff.
Hold on. I brought it up.
Yeah.
I have it right here. I forgot that I had it from us still talking about it. This is Superman 2, actually.
Superman 2.
Came out recently. The second issue of this new story by Joshua Williamson. Where is
art.
Oh, but I really like the art in this.
Yeah, the art's cool.
but I'm trying to find so I can tell you because he's telling them about his girlfriend, he being Jimmy Olsen. Here we go. Jimmy is talking to Lois and Clark in the newest Superman book and says, "My girlfriend is making the big feast tonight. Does my favorite couple want to come over? She's dying to meet you." And Lois says, "Is this the Gorilla Princess, the Monster Hunter, or the Rock Star? Did you try to marry this one already?"
Oh, wow. Who's the Monster Hunter and the Rock Star?
Those are probably, I'm assuming, they're Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah, they have to be.
I feel like they just went in and took all right, we'll take actual Jimmy Olsen adventure, even for small throwaway things.
That's
and
funny.
It's a nice
That's fantastic. Can I see that for a second?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Wow, this is a wonderful cover.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a little thicker because it's one of the variant covers, so it's made with thicker cardstock. But
this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'm really into the new
gorgeous art.
Superman comic here, so it's one that I'm actually picking up and running with.
Why is there a tiny Superman in this?
Oh, tiny Superman.
Yeah, a little tiny Superman.
Oh, okay. It's like he's watching a video that Lex Luthor has made.
Oh, this is like a almost a training video for other super kids and stuff.
Yeah. It's just like, here's what you can do with everything at your disposal, kind of. He's made it like a cute little video kind of thing, and he's just like, all right.
Huh.
I know, it's really good. Yeah.
Well, this was fun, man. I appreciate you putting in the work on these.
Oh, no problem. I don't know what we'll do next. There's a lot of ways we could go, but I'm probably not going to get into anything serious for a bit. Probably going to look at more of some of the ridiculous stuff.
Good.
Especially now that, I have time with Mason.
Yeah.
To talk about all the serious stuff. We can just focus on the really terrible stuff.
Yes, I love that. Yeah. I love it. That's why I got into this business.
There you go.
To focus on the terrible stuff. Yeah.
As always, you can find us on Instagram, BroFoHero. Feel free to email us, brosfoesandheroes@gmail.com. Also, listen to the tons of other great podcasts on the Rogue Media family of podcasts. Also, RogueMediaNetwork.com.
RogueMediaNetwork.com.
I butchered that so bad. And we told you about our other podcasts that we have here.
Make sure you check out
and
I'm sorry.
What was Mason's podcast again?
Bibliophobia.
There you go.
And then you can check out Zach's other interests on Instagram at Zach's Feet.
Yes.
At Zach's Feet.
Funny enough, nothing to do with feet.
No.
It's FEAT.
Right. You're
feats that I like to see done.
I think last week you made an omelet. That was great.
Yeah, that was my
Loved
feat,
it.
was making an omelet.
Sure. Yeah.
I do obviously.
We saw your feet though.
Well, that was just because I was barefoot in the kitchen.
Yeah. It's like those people on Craigslist trying to sell a TV and they take a picture of themselves naked for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever taken a picture of something that I wanted to sell while I was naked.
No. And I haven't cooked naked. Well, except maybe with just an apron.
It's
bacon.
grease.
Yeah,
it's popping.
That's dangerous. So if you want to see me
Fool me once.
not make
shame on me
omelets and not do anything, then don't check out that Instagram account.
Sure, don't check it out anyway.
All right, until next time.
It's probably a real thing.
It's a great way for us to end. So until next time, stay safe, everybody.
Golly to the con.
Pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.